Hi guys, my name is Minhajuddin Ansari and you're watching the 7th tutorial on C programming, and today I'll be talking about loops. So in the C language, there are three types of loops: the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. And in this tutorial, I will be talking about the for loop. So a loop is used to repeat a group of statements as long as the loop condition is true. So right now, I'm going to define my integer value I, and I'm also going to write my for loop. So I'm going to write I is equal to 0, I is lesser than 10, and I plus plus. And inside the body of the for loop, I'm simply going to print the value of the variable I. So this right here, this is the structure of my for loop. And now the for loop has three parts. The first part is the initialization part. Here you initialize the loop variable. The second part is the condition part. Here the value of the loop variable is tested in a condition. And the final part is the increment part. And here the value of the variable is changed. And it can be changed by any amount. But here I'm simply going to change it by 1. So what will happen here is that initially the value of I is 0 and the condition will be tested. 0 is lesser than 10, so the value of I will be printed. And then I will be incremented to 1. Again the condition will be tested. 1 is lesser than 10 and the value of I will be printed, which is 1. And then again I will be incremented to 2. The condition will be tested, which would be true, and 2 would be printed in the output screen. And this would go on and on and on until the value of I becomes 10. So before that, the value would be 9, 9 would be printed, and then after 9, after incrementing the value of I would become 10. And as soon as the value of I becomes 10, this condition will become false and the for loop would terminate. So just to show you the final value of the loop variable I, I'm going to write my printf statement right here, and I'm going to print the value of the variable I. And I'm going to add final value just to make it easily distinguishable, and I'm going to add some new lines right here. So when I run the program, I'm going to be getting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which are the values of I due to the printf statement. And as soon as the value of I becomes 10, the for loop terminates and the final printf statement prints the final value of the variable I, which is 10. So this is how the for loop works. And now you can use the for loop in many different ways. The first way you can use the for loop is by removing the initialization part. So you can initialize the value of the variable at the top here. And when you run the program, it will work perfectly fine. It will print the values of the variable from 0 to 9. The second thing you can do is that you can initialize the loop variable I to any value you want. So for example, I can initialize it to a very large value. Let me initialize it to 10. And my final condition can be that the value of I should be greater than 0. And I can decrement the value of I right here. So this will start at the value 10 and the condition would be tested. 10 is greater than 0. So the value of I, which is 10, will be printed. And then I would be decremented to 9. Again, the condition would be tested. It would be true and the value of 9 would be printed. And this would go on and on and on until the value of I becomes 0. And as soon as the value of I becomes 0, this condition will become false and the loop would terminate. So when I run the program, I'm going to get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the loop terminated when the value of I became 0. So another way of writing the for loop is that you can start at 0 and you can go all the way up to 10 and you can increment the value of I other than 1. You can increment it by 2, 3, 4, 5, anything you want. For example, right here I'm going to increment it by 2. And this right here, plus equal to operator, this is the same thing as I is equal to I plus 2. So don't get confused by this. This will simply be adding 2 in each iteration to the value of the variable I. So when I run the program, it will print the value of I from 0 to 10. Simply even numbers from 0 all the way to 10. Because initially I starts at 0, the value of I is printed, and then I is incremented by 2. So 0 plus 2 is equal to 2, so the value of I becomes 2 and the condition is tested. 2 is less or equal to 10, condition is satisfied, and then the value of I is printed, which is 2. So this is how, and this is another way of writing the for loop. And now another way of writing the for loop is that you can completely remove the increment part, and you can increment, or you could change the value of the variable I inside the body of the for loop. So right here what I can do is that I can write the postfix increment operator like this. So what will happen is that initially I is 0, and since this is the postfix increment operator, so initially I is 0, condition is satisfied, and 0 will be printed because this is postfix. And then the value of I will be incremented to 1, condition will be tested, condition is satisfied, 1 is less or equal to 10, and then 1 would be printed. And then due to the postfix increment operator, the value of I will become 2, and the condition would be tested, 2 is less or equal to 10, and the value of 2 will be printed, and this would go on until the value of I becomes 11. Because when the value of I becomes 11, this condition will become false and the for loop would terminate. So when I run the program, I'm going to get the value of I from 0 all the way up to 10. So this is all it about the for loop. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section, and thanks for watching this video.